because here's how I do. Here's Derek's guide
To the
to
situation.
toxic situationship that's gonna crash and burn.
How to waste a
And
woman's time. Step 1.
yeah,
Hi, welcome back to Friend Crush. Video format this time because I'm doing a non-anonymous boy confessions episode with my friend Derrick Chung, aka Yellowtech, aka Yellowtechnica. He is a DJ, producer based in New York City. He's also a creative. And we talk about so many things in this episode. I have a list. Male and female friendships. The difference between him being on the prowl looking for a relationship and when he's kind of like more passive. Masculine, feminine, energy manifestations, situationships. What is a situationship? Communication, lack of communication in situationships. Whether or not you should be posting a partner on the gram. What does it mean when you do or you don't want to? Wanting to look single and keeping your options open while being in a situationship. How many stories equals a grid post? I want people to discuss this in the comments, please. Being friends with exes. Derrick and I have very different views on this. Actually, I think the core of our views are kind of similar, but it's manifested very differently in our lives. Seeing breakups as opportunities and the post-breakup glow up, as well as understanding like selfishness and how selfishness has different sorts of expressions. Also hookup culture in New York City and the creative scene there. So many things in this hour and a half long discussion that we have. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it too. If you want to hear more from Derrick and I, let me know. Follow me on Instagram at Akilla, TikTok, SoundCloud, Spotify. The meme page for this podcast is at friend.crush on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you like this episode. Share it with your friends because I want to be on YouTube more. I want that Google money. Love you. Enjoy. I was about to say Derrick, but I'm giving you the opportunity to like have a Monica. So hi, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so did you want to have a moniker for this episode of Boy Confessions?
You know, I was thinking about that, and I think it's best just to be who I am and stand behind all the hot takes and all the spicy conversation and be proud as me, you know?
Okay, I love that. So would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes. Hey everyone. My name's Derrick, aka Yellowtech, aka Yellowtechnica. I'm a artist, musician, DJ based out of New York, and I've known Amber for a long time. How do we even meet? Do we just like meet doing DJ stuff?
I think it was like maybe through a mutual friend. You were coming to Shanghai to play shows, and then someone that we knew was like, "Oh, my friend's going to be in Shanghai." And maybe they weren't here or something, and like we had mutual friends anyway, so that's kind of like how we met. Yeah.
And that's how magic happens, you know?
Exactly. Divine timing and intervention. So Wait, how old are you? Do you mind disclosing?
Of course. I was born in 1990, so I'm 32.
Okay, slay. That's actually a very similar age to the previous guests we've had so far. So I like seeing the different ways that people's journeys have unfolded, because so far, from the two so far, it's been like very different. Okay, so where did you grow up and how has this kind of like shaped your identity, would you say? Or just give us like a breakdown of your life from birth till now.
Yeah. So I was born in Burlington, Vermont. Very, very weird thing. But I didn't live there very long, so I don't really remember it. Most of my memories and growing up occurred in Baltimore, Maryland. So I lived there from when I was like basically in like late elementary school to like through to college. And yeah, all of my developmental memories are like from that place. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a really interesting kind of like way to grow up, I think. Like um yeah, I don't know. I kind of like had a lot of friends and I was kind of like a social butterfly and I would just like uh but I was also like a nerd kind of, so I just kind of like kept to myself a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Um
And you're also Asian
and
American as well, for the record. That provides like some context, maybe.
yes, yes, I'm Asian American. I'm Chinese. My parents are from Hong Kong. And yeah, being in a place that was more mixed and diverse, I think like especially a place like Baltimore, Maryland, there's not a lot of Asian people there. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have like an Asian friend until I went to college.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't really have any close Asian
For
friends
real.
when I was younger at all. I think it was even like after university for me when I literally left the country.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and that I think has like it plays a big role in like identity and like growing up and figuring out who you are and what and who you want to be and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, it was a fun place. It's where I started DJing. I started playing in bands when I was like in middle school. Um yeah, it's a good like suburban upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Really chill
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just lots of music.
When did you move to New York?
So I moved to New York in 2014. I went to school in
Oh.
Boston and I lived there for like 6 years. Yeah, from like 2008 to 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to New York after that. And that's when I really started to like discover myself for sure.
Mm.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah, yeah. Even in school, like I feel like I felt like I had all my shit figured out, in Boston in
Mm.
college. But man, I didn't know shit.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how how much perspective just like getting older gives you on like your younger years and your
Yeah,
delusions at the time.
it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I thought I was gonna have everything figured out by the time I was like 26. I was like
Mm.
millionaire by 26,
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy attainable goal. And then like what's after that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so do you have any like memories or like defining moments in terms of how masculinity has been, how you understand masculinity, basically? Or how would you describe or understand masculinity? Because I mean, even for me, it's difficult to describe and understand like femininity. So you don't need to have like a clear answer or anything, or like, who was able to shape what the ideal man was for you, and like how has that idea been challenged over time, and how have you maybe like redefined what that means to you?
I think it's something that's still like I'm still learning a lot about that. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
something that's still changing or it's still like evolving or it's something that I'm still like learning more about, I guess. It's something that's like there inside me, but like
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure out exactly what it's trying to do and what it's trying to say and like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think like when I was younger, um I have the I'm very lucky to have grown up with an older sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she opened the doors for me for a lot of stuff when I was younger. And one of those things was um I guess sexuality and her having like a lot of queer friends.
Mm-hmm.
She went to art school and so I was kind of around just a lot of queer people when I was young.
More
And
like progressive ideas and values.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And like I think when we were younger, like when we were like, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like the the thing to get called on the playground, like during recess, if you're getting bullied by somebody, like they're gonna call you gay, or they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna call you like, well, for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan,
Mm-hmm.
like all the regular stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the kind of like dagger in the coffin was you're gay. Like that's like the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing you could be, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like um it was always one of those things where it's like what is like what like I have to like if you're being bullied like that, if people are telling you that, like you don't want to like feel like you I don't know. It's just you're like, what the fuck? You're kind of like, what
Mm-hmm.
the fuck? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'm not, but like that's also why is that a bad thing? Because also like my homie who's coming to pick me up from school after school, like he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
And
I
he's
mean?
cool.
But
Like, so
like
what's the
and
issue?
but he's also like family. Like they like come over for dinner for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? We spend holidays together. We like do like life shit together. Like, yo, I need like pick me up from this place, or like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can you bring this heavy thing, like help me lift it.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. So
Mm-hmm.
from like a young age, I was kind of like really just like confused by that, and it turned into like a resentment thing. It was like I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't like anybody who kind of like talked like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like um yeah, but it made me think a lot about like why is that so bad. And like
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't a huge queer community, and there wasn't a lot of education about like all that stuff when I was younger. And it
Yeah,
was either
very
you're
little visibility for the queer community.
right, and it's either you're super straight, super
Mm-hmm.
cis, and
Mm-hmm.
or you're gay. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really bad because like that's what everybody is bullying you for, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's no spectrum
Mm-hmm.
of them of like a perceived masculinity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very
Like
binary.
totally, and
Mm-hmm.
especially in my high school, like it was. I think my high school was like I went to Lochraven High in Towson, and it was like out of my like it was like a better school, not close to my house, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like it had like a I don't know. I wanted to go to it because all my friends went there, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was like kind of like it was really mixed. Like a lot of kids from the city would come there, and then a lot of kids from the suburbs would come there, and then so it was just like a really big mix of kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it was such an interesting place to grow up. But I grew up definitely in high school with that idea that it is so black and white and it's so binary, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no spectrum. And then like I don't think I really realized that there could be levels to it until I started to get older, for sure. I just really didn't like get
Question it.
that kind of. Yeah.
So it was you and your sister, the two siblings.
And I have a little brother too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel like your relationship with your masculinity has affected your romantic relationships? Like, would you identify as like more on the straight side, or do you feel like you're still open and exploring the spectrum of sexuality? Or like, how would you sort of describe like your dating experiences and how your relationship with masculinity might play into it?
That's really interesting. So
And
you're talking
also
about
like how
romantic
this is like,
relationship.
yeah, and also how this is like informed by maybe like society's expectations. So like for example, I would say like for me as a woman, I might feel like society expects a woman to be desirable, to focus on wanting a long-term relationship, to prioritize becoming a wife, getting married, having babies. Like this is maybe like the idea that I was indoctrinated with growing up. And then how I understand my relationship with my femininity and like who I am as a woman is like different to those societal ideas that I felt like or sometimes feel like pressured to, I don't know, adhere to or try to pursue. So like how is that? So then my question for you is like, is it how do you like unpack the relationship between what you feel like expected to do as a man, and then is it the same or different, and how does it manifest in like any of your relationships, even like friendships, romantic relationships, work, whatever, like whatever you feel like exploring? What comes up for you with this question?
Yeah, so that's such a good question because I mean now I'm like I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like all none of it really matters to me like that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I think those like traditional roles in terms of like gender roles and like oh the man should make the money or like whoever. I'm like goddamn, like I hope if you know what I mean, if my girl's making more money than me then like shit, like I need allowance. I need like a weekly allowance. Like
Mm-hmm.
like keep going, babe. Keep going. I love it. I love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I love to see the success. You know what I mean?
So do you feel
Um,
like it was always like that, or you've kind of slowly been able to uh care less about those things? Like, was there a point where you felt like it was more important to you versus how you feel now?
I think for in terms of like romantic relationships, I've never had that feeling where like I need to be the man because like
Mm-hmm.
I come from a family where like we're nothing without the women in that family, and I know for sure that like in a relationship setting too, like it's probably gonna be the same way. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I realized that early growing up, like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, my sister, my mom, like they're so awesome and so badass. They like, I didn't really grow up with my dad. Like he didn't really come back into my life until like 18, like after I left for college.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I grew like I was basically raised by my mom, my grandma, my two cousins, my older cousins,
Mm-hmm.
who are both women too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I grew up in like a house full of women. So like those roles and stuff like that never really I was never really thinking about it so structured like that. But
Mm-hmm.
for friendships though, like male to male friendships,
Mm,
that
okay,
was
very
something that
important topic.
it took me like a really long time to learn the nuances of this because I knew like when I was growing up, for example, all those kids that were like bullying other kids and like, you know, calling other kids names and stuff like that. I knew I didn't like hanging around kids like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like how come they're so like those are like
The cool
dude
kids.
ass dudes, you know? Yeah,
Mm.
or like they're just bros, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like super like masculine, have to like be manly dude ass dudes, like super testosterone vibes, you know?
Heat up.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to be friends with people like that. Like I know that I don't get along with people like that. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, I don't think I should have any like guy friends.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then that made me think about a lot of stuff too. That made me think about I'm like shit. Well, am I gay? Cause
Mm-hmm.
like cause like I don't like teasing people like that. I don't like playing sports like that. I don't like doing, you know, all the things that that guy is doing. But that
Mm-hmm.
guy is like probably like the most manly guy. You know what I mean? And he's doing
Mm-hmm.
all the manly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not like him, then who am I? Then what am I? Then I must be the other one, right?
Mm.
Like in my
Mm.
head, that's kind of how it was, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was like dressing differently, and then like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like all the visual factors were like all pointing towards like you're probably gonna be like
Mm-hmm.
other thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's like it took me a while to figure out that there is a spectrum because like sexually, at least today on 2022, I'm like straight. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
super straight.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my like tendencies and my interests and my temperament almost too is not so straight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it
In the
definitely is
conventional sense,
more
at least.
exactly. I
Mm.
feel like in terms of like my personality and stuff, maybe I have some more like effeminate qualities, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that kind of always confused me because I was like, how can I be like that? And how can I react this way naturally? and still be like a man ass man, like if that's what I want it to be, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think it hit me more with like man to man relationships because I was like, I need to find other guys like me to be friends with because
Mm-hmm.
I know that I don't like being with these testosterone guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it took me a while kind of to figure out like who those people were and like
Mm-hmm.
where to find them, and they're like all artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mean, like a lot of artists too are like dude ass dudes too.
Mm.
So like, don't get me wrong, there are definitely artists and like creatives that are like really like hyper straight in
Mm-hmm.
like everything that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been finding a lot of awesome people that are a little bit more like fluid in terms of that, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
personality wise
Mm-hmm.
and like temperament wise.
Yeah. So you think that like the friendship dynamic is then less defined by your ability to like assert each other's or like validate each other's masculinity? Because I think that's something that a lot of people talk about or observe is like the way that men connect over like mutual like social clout approval of each other, and then how this can sometimes come at the expense of women, like, oh, what's your body count, or like, are you dating a slut, or like this and that, like they're bonding over their mutual disrespect for women in a lot of ways, which is how they kind of assert their masculinity. So I'm interested to know, like, because I think that this is also, it can also be at play in relation in it can also be at play in like male friendships in more covert ways, I think, even if you're not like hyper masculine. But yeah, I'd be interested to know if you like still observe that kind of behavior, even when like the way that you express your masculinity is not conventional. Like, does that still kind of like come up sometimes in your friendships? Have you observed that before?
I've observed it before, but honestly, it's just not the vibe for me. It's
Mm.
like, you know, like it's like we need big booty bitches. Like, yeah, I'm not like going up to my circle of friends and saying that, like
Yeah.
personally. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um I definitely like when girls are around, yeah, for sure. But I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh my god, where are the bitches at? You know what I mean? Like we're like, oh, like there's so many dudes here. We need more girls. Like,
Oh my God.
usually, yeah. You know, like and I see that talk like a lot still. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
see that like that vibe and that energy a lot, especially like DJing in New York and stuff like that. You realize how quickly like you realize really quickly that like um everything that was going on in high school, a lot of those people, they just got older and they're still
Oh
doing
yeah.
that shit. You know, they just nothing
100%.
changed. They just got older. That's the only thing that changed.
Yeah.
um but yeah, for me, I was never like that. I it like kind of like because like I'm so like protective of like my sister and my mom and shit. I'm like shit like that's not the vibe to like I don't know, talk
Yeah,
about
like you
girls
wouldn't
like
want to
that.
speak
Yeah,
about your sister like that, or you wouldn't want someone to speak about your sister like that, and you're extending that to other women, recognizing that they might be someone's sister or someone's daughter.
it kind of in like yeah, and I'm just also too, I'm just like a lot of growing up, like a lot of my friends were girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had the thing where I was like, oh, we need to like find more girls. Like
Mm.
girls were kind of always around just because that was my like my personality kind of like lent itself to that.
Mm-hmm. Do
Um
you still have like close female friendships, or are most of your close friends like dudes now?
yeah, most of them I would say it's like 50-50 now kind of, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have a lot of close girlfriends for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I'd be
Yeah.
interested in talking about like the intersex friendship, so like male female friendships. Obviously it's a
Okay.
very like broad topic that can
Okay.
have many different manifestations. It works for some and not for others, but for you
Right.
as a straight guy that's friends with straight women, have you felt like, would you say that you're like attracted to your female friends Or have you had times where you've like gone from being friends to wanting to date them or sleep with them? Or is it more like you find them attractive or you appreciate that they're attractive, but it's not like you're thinking about wanting to date them or being involved with them romantically?
So I've had I've had a few I've had probably a friendship in every category that you just listed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll
Break it down
I'll
for
I'll
us.
even tell I'll even tell a story. I'll even tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
So um there when I like first moved here,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't DJing at first.
Mm-hmm.
I started DJing maybe like a year into living here, but then
Mm-hmm.
when I started DJing, I hit it like pretty hard. I was
Mm-hmm.
like it was really new for me and it was really exciting. It was really fun. So I was like just like partying a lot, drinking a lot, just like being out and just like kind of being sloppy and messy.
Mm-hmm.
So um there's one night I DJ'd, and I'm not gonna say the place, I'm not gonna say the name of the person, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna give any
Protect
clues. I think
identity.
unless there's some real sleuths in the audience, maybe you could possibly figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But so I DJ'd this one night, and I think I don't know, I DJ'd with this girl, who ended up becoming like a close friend,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we hooked up, or we were like about to hook up, and then we were going to my house, and I think we were both like really fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I couldn't even like have sex, like I couldn't even like do it, you know what I mean? I was so fucked up, I literally I
Yeah.
couldn't even do it, even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It just wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
It wasn't
but we
giving what it was
tried though.
supposed to give.
it it definitely wasn't giving anything. um but we tried though, that's the thing, we tried and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't working, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that was like one of the first times that that had happened to me, and I was
Mm.
like
How did that make you feel
I
at the
was
time? And like looking back on it.
literally I was like so embarrassed,
Mm.
but I was also so tired and drunk
Mm-hmm.
that I just remember being so relieved that I didn't have to exert any kind of energy.
Yeah, you didn't have to perform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. After a night of a DJ performance, the
Mm-hmm.
last thing you want to go home is the last thing you want to do is go home and then perform again.
Mm-hmm. Especially in that state, right?
Yeah, right. So it happened, but it didn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so we talked about it the next day, and we're kind of like, maybe it's better that it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We kind
Very
of like
mature
left
of
it
both
like
of you.
that.
Mm.
I mean, at least that's what I was saying, because it like didn't happen. I don't know what she was feeling, and I was like, well, maybe it's better it didn't happen, right?
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
I was just
Right?
so fucked up.
Yeah. You too, right? Yeah. So yeah, it didn't happen, but then we ended up being really good friends, and we
Mm-hmm.
actually like talk about that day to this point. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
it's like
that's
kind
so
of like,
sweet.
but yeah, between us, it's like a funny little thing that happened, and it's like part of our story, but not a defining part of our story. And
Mm.
then there's like other girls where like I think a really common thing for me is, and I need to chill with that, is like meeting a girl and then just getting like super attached because I feel like such a closeness with her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like jump to conclusions kind of when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to meeting someone.
Mm-hmm. So
Um
is that like
if
in
that
a
makes
romantic sense or also a platonic sense? Or you just like feel the connection and you want to like explore it more, even if you don't know whether it's romantic or platonic?
It's definitely the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like I'm in a relationship now, but I
Mm-hmm.
think for when I was like kind of like there's like two different modes of me. The first mode is I don't I don't want to see anybody. I don't plan on going out. It doesn't really matter to me if I'm like out in like a club setting. I don't need to shave or get dressed or do anything. Like I love that mode.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love the mode too where I'm kind of like on the hunt and kind of
Mm-hmm.
like on the prowl and just
Mm-hmm.
like looking around and seeing what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
trying a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when I'm in the first mode, not trying, um, those are when I make the most confusing relationships. Those are when I make like the worst decisions, I think.
Okay,
Uh
so you could say, like, from a like masculine feminine polarity view, that it's like in one state where you're not really trying, your masculine part like isn't really activated, or it's not at the forefront of like the way that you're behaving. And then when you're like on the prowl and actually like actively seeking like a romantic connection, that's when your masculine is like more activated, because that is what people define. I mean, I'm not trying to like say that this is the way the world is, but that's how people understand like masculine energy. Because even for me, like as a woman, I have masculine energy within me too. When I'm being assertive, when I'm like working, when I'm taking control of things, that is the masculine in me being activated. When I'm like more laid back, chill, able to like just receive, then that is the feminine being activated. And I think like the way that I see myself and understand things is like everybody has like masculine and feminine energy within them, but obviously in like varying degrees. And then it's activated in different ways and it looks different for different people. And like generally speaking, men are going to have more masculine energy or a better handle on masculine energy, and women are going to have a tendency to be have more feminine energy and have a better understanding of that. But of course, contextually, experience wise, you activate different parts of you at different stages. And it's not that you have to be one or the other, but some kind of like fluid, ever changing, evolving combination of both. Anyway, continue.
yes. That is so true. Cause
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm in the when I'm in the like not looking mode,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like giving off I might even be giving off like relationship energy,
Mm-hmm.
inadvertently
Mm-hmm.
giving off relationship energy when
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of always like when I was like single and just like in that mode, I think I was never looking for a relationship, but I was always open to it, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of a weird thing. You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
relate to that.
It's like if it
No, actually,
yeah,
no.
if it like
I relate in the sense that it's like I'm not actively seeking a relationship, but if the right person or thing comes along, I'll see what happens. But it doesn't mean that it needs to be a relationship.
exactly. And that's where it gets the most
Mm-hmm.
messy
Mm-hmm.
because that's when like the situationships would happen and
Mm-hmm.
like it wasn't like a boyfriend girlfriend, like we
Mm-hmm.
weren't like doing the dating stuff, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like but we were still seeing each other a lot and spending a lot of time together and like yeah, doing like a lot of things together. So it just
Mm-hmm.
became like a confusing territory and like communication was bad and I think that was like a really big thing.
Did they
And then
ever
like
like seek clarity from you or like want more
oh
of
yeah.
a commitment,
Oh
and then
yeah.
you would just be like, I'm sorry, I'm not really looking for a relationship right now, but like we can still do this.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just be so and I think that I was really confused at that time specifically.
Mm-hmm.
This happened with like two two different girls. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing happened.
And you were
Almost
friends
two. Yeah.
before, or it's like you met and then it became this.
We met in both situations. We met and clicked so instantly and got along so well instantly that
Mm-hmm.
it was just so obvious that
There
we
was
were gonna
something
hook
there.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It wasn't like oh my god, I really like this person. I want to like hook up with them. It
Mm-hmm.
was like oh my god, you like this show too, or you like this music? Oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I mean? Like the conversation and the chemistry was so good that it just went there, and
Overtook
then
all reason.
yeah, and then that shit lasted for like 2 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
both times, yeah, both times.
Situationship.
Yeah, and it got to a point too where I needed to address like the relationship side for both of them, because it was
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like, all right, I need to commit because or not commit
Yeah.
because I'm like wasting this person's time. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think the first time that it happened, I really noticed how badly that it hurt the other person, that I wasn't
Mm.
committing and like own like when
Claiming
people are
them.
dating, claiming, yeah, exactly, claiming your partner
Mm-hmm.
in a internet society
Mm-hmm.
is so crucial. That's basically like that's like the one of the one for at least these two people, one of like the highest levels of like showing that you care about them. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could get them like a all expense paid resort trip to Puerto Escondido, like you could
They
do
don't give
all
a
that and
fuck if you're
it's
not tagging them on the grid.
exactly. If it's
Mm-hmm.
not a hard post, in feed,
Hard
tag.
launch.
Yeah,
Hard launch.
exactly. I'm not talking name in the caption. I'm
Yeah.
talking
No soft launch
right.
on the stories or like
Yeah.
obscure hand in the background, silhouette in mirror selfie. No. They want
No,
grid
no.
posts, tags,
Grid post,
emojis.
full reveal. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
Okay.
I
And you just
wasn't
couldn't give
given
that to
that.
them.
I wasn't given that because at the same time too, I wanted to also give off the impression of like singleness too. Because
Mm-hmm.
like in this
Keeping your options
weird,
open.
yeah, in this weird way, it's like keeping your options open, but also too, I felt like, especially because I was like doing my DJ thing and just like trying to like, I don't know, I was trying to mix around and float around in every kind of social setting. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like having a partner at that time was gonna like publicly slow me down. And so for some, I don't know why. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why I was thinking that, but I thought that it was gonna be like a hindrance to like the brand or something. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's the toxic masculinity inside me.
I mean, I
But
say
I
that all
don't
the
know.
time. Having a boyfriend can be bad for the brand as a woman, but I mean, like having a shitty boyfriend is bad for the brand. So I think
Right.
that, you know, it just different people want different things. And if what somebody wants is like hard launch on the grid, what and like you don't care about that, then maybe that's just like a fundamental incompatibility, right? It's not about like whether you should be hard launching your partner online or not. It's just like, is that something that the two of you care about to the point where it makes or breaks how you see the connection? So,
Right. And maybe we just didn't see eye to eye on that
but
at
how
that
long was it?
at
Like,
that point.
were they kind of, how would you just, because I've actually like never really been in a situationship before. Like, I don't really understand them because for me, I think I've always been like, I just want to have fun. It's not that deep. Or the person has like actively pursued me into like becoming their girlfriend or have been very clear about like, I want to date you. I want you to be my girlfriend. And I've been like, I don't know if I want to be someone's girlfriend now. Or, but like, okay, yeah, I could be your girlfriend. And then like I'll commit to that role. And then something will happen. I'll be like, yeah, I actually don't want to be someone's girlfriend. So the
Mm-hmm.
concept of situationship, like seeing someone on a consistent basis over a number of years where I want something that they aren't giving to me is like, I don't actually understand that because for me, even if it's like I'm in a relationship with someone, as soon as I am like disrespected in a way that I can't like accept and they aren't taking accountability for, I'm like finished. It's like, I don't care how much I thought I loved you or how much history we have or how our connection is, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I don't respect you because you haven't treated me with respect. So I would never like, I just wouldn't be able to like ask someone for something, have them reject it, and then be like, okay, cool, I'm going to stick around. Like that's like, I'm not built that way for some reason. So I'm interested to know. And
Right.
I think like a lot of people that tune into the podcast ask me about like situationship or like refer to situationships. And I'm like, but what is a situationship? Like, did this person that you were seeing like communicate to you that they wanted to be in a relationship? You said, no, sorry, not ready.
See,
And they were
you
like,
gotta get with the
okay.
times, man. You gotta get with the times, man, because the whole point of a situationship is not communicating about what it is.
Right. Okay.
That's
So you
the
just
whole
keep like
vibe.
hanging out and someone is waiting for someone to
Yeah.
maybe say something, but because no one says anything, you just keep going.
Yeah, or maybe you're not even waiting for the other person to say something. Maybe like cuz here's how I here's how I do. Here's Derek's guide. Derek's guide
To the
to
situation.
toxic situationship that's going to crash and burn.
How to waste a
And
woman's time. Step one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How to have your cake and eat it too. Ready?
Literally, that's exactly what I was doing. Like now looking back on these things, like it feels so selfish of me, and it feels so like, why didn't we fix this or talk about it?
Mm,
Um talk about it more. But the thing is, like with the situationship, I think like how the reason why I was being so fucked up is because like I would still do all the relationship stuff,
mm,
but like like in terms of like time commitment, if you need me for something, I'm there. Like if you need me to drive you to the airport at like 5 a.m., like I'm gonna do it. And you're gonna be like,
mm-hmm,
oh, like that's not my boyfriend, but like Derek will do anything for me. You know what I mean? And
mm-hmm,
I think I was like practicing
mm,
relationship stuff
mm-hmm.
in those situations, if
Yeah,
that makes
without
sense.
like the pressure of having to ramp up the commitment in
Totally.
your mind. Yeah.
Exactly. And the commitment in my mind, that was like the hardest thing for me to that's 100% the reason why I didn't like ask these people to like be in relationships,
Mm-hmm,
or even when it was presented to me, why I was so hesitant to.
mm-hmm,
Is because like, yeah, I'm like totally like I can't do commitment, and it's still like kind of hard for me to like fully commit,
mm-hmm,
um because I'm there's so many other like I'm a very selfish person with my time, I think. And whenever I would think about being in a relationship, it would equal I'm spending my time not for me.
mm,
That's what relationship meant to me. But like
mm.
situation like that, I can hop in, hop out. Oh, this is my stop right here. Oh shit, almost missed it. And I'll hop out, and then you won't see me for a little while, but oh, I'm back.
Oh,
I
so they
just got
always
off.
kept
I
the
just got
door
off the
open
stop.
for you. That's interesting.
Yeah, but it was a thing where it was like when I was doing the situationship, I wasn't like, it was a kind of exclusive situationship.
Mm-hmm.
I was not like I was like going around seeing other girls too at the same time. Like, see,
And
like
you were
that's not
communicating
the
that to them
point.
too. Like, I'm not seeing other people, but I'm not your boyfriend. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was kind of almost too where it was like I like time was a factor too, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I say that I don't have enough time to commit to you, that's why we can't be in a relationship, then how am I gonna do that with somebody else too?
Mm-hmm.
Like it like doubles the work. It kind of
Yeah.
doubles, yeah, yeah. It's like it's
There
too
aren't
much,
enough
man.
hours in the day.
Literally.
Mm-hmm. So, were there like ever confrontations or fights about the fact that you weren't claiming them? Like, you would
Oh
fight
yeah.
and make up about it, or it's just like they would just be like, "Okay, yeah, I'm not your girlfriend. That's okay." Like, how would that work?
No, it, it would result in some kind of post or something. Yeah.
Wait, post
Yeah.
where? About what? Like you posting
Like,
them?
yeah, not like an in feed post, but yeah, sure, like a story, like a you know,
Oh, okay. So you would
yeah, that
like placate their wishes. You would like compromise in some way, being like, okay, I don't want to lose you, but I don't want to be your boyfriend. So I'm going to post you on my Instagram story as a
yeah,
middle ground.
yeah,
And that would satisfy
exactly.
them
For that moment,
temporarily.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And obviously that like how many stories you're gonna post, like
Mm-hmm.
like how many stories equals a in feed post, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Okay. So you would
uh
just do like as much
the
as
bare minimum.
required until it got to like, oh, not the grid, babes. It's protecting the
Yeah.
brand. I've got to post
Yeah.
DJ flags. Like, it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, it just seems random,
Yeah.
right? But
Like, who even
yeah,
cares? Who even knows who you are?
yeah, yeah, and on that wasn't like all of the issues, obviously, but it was definitely
Mm-hmm.
something that comes up more than I thought it would, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought it didn't really matter that much,
Mm-hmm.
but it does matter. It does matter. Yeah, yeah.
So
That
now
like
you
public
realize that, like,
claiming.
or you've been in a situation or like relationship with someone where you've been like, damn, I really want to post this person on the grid.
Yeah, or I'm in the situation now where I really wouldn't mind it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
and um I think a lot of the like I don't know, like, a lot of like the previous relationships that I had, like I should have honestly taken more seriously, because I feel like I could have gotten more out of them in terms of like personal growth.
Mm.
Because yeah, I still have a lot of like learning to do. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And a lot of like
As we all do.
uh yeah, yeah, right. But yeah, I don't know. It's neither here nor there.
Are you still in
Um
contact with those people, or you had to like fully break up? Was it like messy breakup, or it was just like, we can't do this anymore?
so I don't have any messy breakups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm friends with all of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The breakups, I guess, at that moment are messy, but we always fix stuff. Yeah. I don't like not being so like unreasonable that we can't have some kind of like light relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
even
So
with
it's not
my
like close inner circle, but it's like you're still friendly and it's like no hard feelings kind of thing. You both have been able to move on separately without it being like, oh, so I saw that guy that you're seeing now, or like I heard that Derrick is like seeing some girl
right.
now.
Right. It's totally not like that at all. Like we're so friends now, like with all my exes, honestly. Like I've met their boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
I like if they need DJ stuff, like I bring the stuff. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I do
Mm-hmm.
favors for them, like
Mm-hmm.
they do favors for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's all love. Like we don't talk all the time, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of cool. Like we rely on each other for stuff too sometimes, like for like information or for advice or for like, hey, do you know this person who could do this? Or even
Mm-hmm.
booking them for jobs.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? It's a really cool place to be. Like we're not close, but
Mm-hmm.
like the respect is there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still I'm still close with all of my exes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that like, how do you think you got to that stage of being able to be friendly with your exes? Like, was it because at some point you were able to communicate and understand the ways that you'd hurt them and take accountability for it? Is it because something that they said or did? Like, how do you feel like it was able to evolve into that place?
Definitely every person's different for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think the feeling of wanting to not be in a bad place with somebody definitely came with from my girlfriend that I dated in college.
Mm-hmm.
Um we had a really messy breakup over like a few years that it involved like long distance, and it
Mm-hmm.
involved like living in different cities, and then like so we both lived in Boston together. She moved to New York before I did, and
Mm-hmm.
we were still dating. And then when I moved to New York, I lived with her for like 6 months to find my own apartment, and then I found my own apartment, and then we broke up after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, we didn't have a good breakup, and we were kind of in a bad place. Um, and I remember that feeling, and I remember how we had so many shared friends too, and how like awkward
Mm-hmm.
that was, and like hard to navigate, and like
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we can't exist this way. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
literally not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We have too many shared things.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that feeling, and just like I think it was a lot of growth on my side and her side in order to get to a place where we could actually be
civil,
friends.
and then friends.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
initiated
And
that? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember. I think it wasn't until it took like a few years, honestly. It took a
Mm-hmm.
few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe she had to go out there and because I was actually I was the first person that she ever had sex with in
Mm-hmm.
college.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that had I don't know if that had something to do with it,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
She
What do you
just
think?
didn't have enough reference points, I think.
Exactly.
Mm.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, damn, maybe if you hooked up with a few more people, I wouldn't really matter so much. But but
Mm.
like, you know, it was kind of like I think she needed to kind of like go out there and like
Just
float
broaden
around and
her
just
experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I think that fixed everything.
Mm-hmm.
I
People
think
are like, oh,
like
Derrick's not all
her
that.
yeah, yeah. Not that fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. No, but I think that was like really good for her because like it gave her more perspective about like relationships with men, I feel like, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um and we were able to have this like really cool it was actually really kind of weird too because we would like hook up sometimes
Mm-hmm.
but it was like strictly booty calls like when you're
Yeah, I was
hitting up
gonna
your
say
ex like
from
strictly
like
for a booty call.
partner to booty call.
Yeah, right, from partner to booty call to the point where like they don't even follow up like the next day anymore,
Mm.
you know. And I was like wow, that's like I really see the kind of like the arch
Yeah.
of the you know the rising action,
Mm-hmm.
the climax, and then the
Mm-hmm.
falling action. I see
Mm-hmm.
that we're in the falling action stage right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um so yeah, that was good. It was
Mm-hmm.
good. And it showed me a lot about how you can be friends with somebody
Yeah, because
even when
I
you think yeah.
right. Because when I was younger, I was like, I'm friends with my exes, it's chill. And now I'm like, no friends with exes, cancel.
Really?
Well, I think for me, because I place such a high value on my friendships, and I am so selective with the people that are in my like inner circle, or just like anybody that I give the time of day to. Like, if I care about you, we have like a mutual respect relationship. It's like I'll do whatever you need, you know, like I'm not like ride or die, but it's like I will look out for the people that I care about.
I gotta
I've
draw the line somewhere.
yeah, like I've been ride or die in a relationship before, and that was not the vibe. So
And then you died. Yeah.
yeah, boundaries are important. And then the relationship died, and I wish that he was dead. So, you know, type
So
of
ride
both,
or die. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What?
type
So,
of
yeah,
both.
one of those
Ride,
happened. Yeah.
I'll ride, but if anyone's got to die, it's not going to be me. So yeah, I think as I've gotten older, like my standards and my ability to set boundaries has gotten much better too. And I think when I was younger, I was like settling for like I didn't even want a relationship with this person, and I was always okay for the romantic part to end, but for them to insist on being friends when for me it's like the foundation of a healthy relationship requires like being able to be friends in a way, you know, like it's this platonic element of mutual respect and then like a romantic layer on top of it. And for me, when those relationships ended, it's like I was disrespected in a way that cut through not just the romantic part, but deep into this friendship foundation that they were like trying to continue to
Mm,
assert after the romantic
mm,
part was over. So for me, I was like, I could be friends with you if you were able to acknowledge the ways that you had desecrated this foundation of friendship that you insist upon. But because they couldn't do that, I was like, well, then why would I want to be friends with you? Because I have
got
friends
it.
where that I'm not questioning the existence of that foundation. You know, I don't have anxiety when I hear from my friends. I don't wonder like what their intentions are. I don't think about whether I'm being placed in like some triangulation situation where it's like, oh, I'm like the ex that you're friends with, but you're seeing this new girl and like you want me in your life to make this other girl kind of jealous, and you just enjoy having like two girls like feeling like they're fighting over you, but I'm not going to fight for you, dude. Like, I'm not the one. I don't care about that kind of attention, and I feel like I've been used, or people intend to use me in that way. So for me, it's like, you don't know how to be a friend. So then we can't be friends. I would be open to being friends if you knew how to be a good friend. But I think for me, I realized like, you know, those specific people, it's just like, actually, there were a lot of signs in getting to know them romantically where I would see how they would talk about their friends, or like how they viewed friendship and understood friendship that actually did not align with how I view and value friendship. So that's just like unfortunate that we couldn't be like the connection and the mutual interest. It's like not that lit with them that I need to be friends, because like I have friends that I have that with without the weirdness of like being your ex and then how that might fit in whatever. So that's
Right.
why it's
Yeah.
been
And I guess
harder for me to be friends, because I already have great friends. I don't need like a second tier friend.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess the reason of why you break up matters a lot too. Because I didn't even really think about that. Like for all the girls that I dated, it's been like really consistent. Like the reason is because um I just needed to like focus more on like the shit that I was doing. Um and it just got to a point where it was just too much. Or if she wanted like more commitment out of me, that was like kind of like I can't do anything more than this, and this is kind of where we got to split. So it was always the reason of like I'm just looking out for me, kind of. And then I think like on the flip side, in three situations after we broke up, or no, in two situations after we broke up, I saw this other person kind of like flourish. Kind of like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like be like take more jobs, do the things that they said they were going to do when we were together, like
But they were like
being
putting
in.
that energy into trying to get you to be their boyfriend.
Yeah.
And now they were like, oh,
Exactly.
wait, now I have all this leftover energy to actually go and kill it without Derrick.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like honestly I've never felt like resentful about that. I've always felt so happy about that.
I love that.
And that's because that's what I kind of wanted to see the whole time while I was dating them. I kind of wanted to see that, you know. And we're fucking young, you know what I mean? We're like 23, 24, 25. We don't know what's going on. So um like looking back on it now, like I do realize that the reason why we broke up is, I think, a big part of why we can still be friends. Because I think too, after maybe like a year or 2 years or 3 years, I'm not saying that like, Derrick helped himself, but he also helped me too. It's like not like that, okay? I'm not like mansplaining this relationship for you, okay? Or I'm not like this is how you live life. You gotta break up with men and then look after yourself. Like that's not what I'm saying.
That's okay.
But
I can
like,
say that.
yeah,
I'm happy to
but
assume that
like,
role.
yeah, it's kind of true. It's kind of true, but I'm just like so happy that like that's how we split up, so we could both like level up a little bit in our own ways. Turn that feeling of sadness and hate into, let it motivate you. You know what I mean? Let it get your next gig. Let it
Yes.
do that casting. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like fuck it, take that DJ gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's like a really great illustration of something that I describe, which is, like you said, like there's a difference between, I think it's important that people learn how to be selfish in a way that is like not harmful or not at the expense of other people. And the way that you describe, like recognizing that at a certain point, like the people that you're dating, they want more from you that you're not able to give, it doesn't mean that you have to give more because they want more. It means being able to communicate like, hey, I know that you want more from me. I'm telling you honestly that I'm not able to give that to you. And you're like, even though it's painful for that person to hear, like it's actually also a favor to them that you're being honest and you're letting them go. Because I think obviously at previous points in the relationship, you were able to be like, oh, it's chill, like don't worry about it. Like you were being selfish in a way that was actually harming them. But then you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm going to be selfish, but I'm also going to let you go because I recognize, even if you didn't recognize at the time, you were able to, like, as painful as it might have been for them, now it's like, okay, they are able to like face their situation as it is and like either, and then kind of like redefine what it is that they want, whether that is actually a relationship or actually career and fulfillment in other parts of their life. Because I think that a lot of women especially talk about how they feel that they've been used as character development by the men that they've dated. They've seen the way that they've played therapist for a guy or like overextended themselves, overinvested in a relationship, and then kind of like been left with nothing. The guy's taken everything from them, or like they've been so emotionally depleted that they're like, what the fuck is, like, what was the point of me doing that? And I've never felt this way. I mean, I felt used by men, but I don't feel that I'm being used for their character development, or at least I feel like there is opportunity for me to develop as well after a relationship. Because like you mentioned, the energy that you were putting into the relationship, you're now able to redirect to yourself and level up and grow. And that's like a decision that you make and that you're able to make with a level of awareness, because it's like, I feel similar in the way that I've never really pursued or wanted to be someone's girlfriend, because I recognize on some level that the energy that I would put into that relationship, it's being taken away from other parts of my life that are important to me. And I know that like a guy wanting me to be his girlfriend comes with expectations for me to be available for him, cater to him. And I would rather just not do that and like live my life. And then if something comes along, especially now, I'm like, okay, if it comes along and it fits in well and it's bringing me peace and prosperity and not problems, that's a different issue. But I think a lot of the times women especially they have a lot more elasticity around problems that men bring to their life, and like an ability to like think that they're managing everything well. Like for your situationships, they probably felt like they were doing okay with work and they still were able to get some level of emotional fulfillment from you, and like that was kind of working, they were managing it. But then when their energy is no longer being poured into like trying to get a guy to be their boyfriend, but they're like, oh, there's actually so much more that I can do for myself when I'm focusing in that way, and not just like you're able to give yourself the thing that you're looking for from another person. Like being able to learn to do that is how you're able to grow. And that's the blessing in disguise that a lot of breakups come with, because it's like it wouldn't break if it wasn't broken in some way. And then like healing is being able to redefine yourself and like the next chapter of your life. But I understand that like with the conditioning that women receive, especially, it's like hard to learn that. You know, you think that your purpose in life is to be a man's girlfriend or to be someone's wife. And like, if you're not able to do that, then somehow you failed as a woman. So I just think it's really interesting, because I do believe that breakups are an opportunity as well. Even though you are heartbroken and you feel like shit, there's so much growth that comes in those spaces, because there's like something that's left your life. Like the amount of energy that people put into romance and the feelings and the emotional investment is like, you know, the only thing that can compare to that is maybe like the investment someone makes into their career or the investment that someone makes into being a parent. So when that leaves you, that gives you so much space to then rebuild yourself in a completely new way that you wouldn't be able to do if that space was being filled. Like if they were in a situationship, they wouldn't have the energy necessarily to go for those things. But now it's like we said, that energy is being redirected back into them. And the new chapter begins. But yeah, I just think it's like a point that I wanted to clarify and build upon based off your reflections.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, really.
Yeah, and I think that it's like mature and beautiful as well for you to be able to celebrate like their achievements after your situationship with them too, because I think, at least for me, I'm like motivated by spite when I'm in a bad place, and I'm
Oh, for
like,
sure, for sure.
I'm going to do so much better than you. You're not even going to be able to speak my name. I mean, I'm not actually going to like say this to their face, but that's how I be thinking.
Yeah,
And I
you
think
do
it
it
can
with
be,
your actions, and then yeah, they'll see you on the billboards and shit, and then they'll be like, "Oh well, you don't got to say shit then."
yeah. And I think it can be hard for men to like set aside their ego, especially when you work in the same industry, to be able to be like, I don't know, to come at you or like see you as an emotional or professional equal. Like it can be hard, I think, for them to, I don't know, like separate your gender or the way that they perceive your gender from like you as a whole person, you know? I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
Or if
for
you've
sure,
seen
I
that
for sure
with
see
other
that.
people.
Yeah, yeah, I for sure see that. I think that there are still a lot of like really primitive, just like thought processes around like men and women still, especially from like
Mm,
the men camp, where it's
mm-hmm,
like, yeah, like they feel like they are always better, and like
mm,
they're always the ones who are gonna like succeed and all that. And
mm,
like I don't know, I've just seen from like a very young age that that's not the case, and
mm,
how much like stronger and like like my mom really like did that for me, like when when we were like kids, she would do everything. She had like 3 jobs. She would drive us to all these classes and take us to all these things and sign us up for all these things. And like, there was this one time where I like had no one to play baseball with, and she
mm-hmm.
literally, my fucking mom, my small Chinese mom who literally doesn't know how to do anything like American like that, like she picked up like a baseball glove and she like threw a baseball with me like when I was
Oh
like a
my
little kid. Like
God.
she did that. She like played that role. So like
Mm-hmm.
for me, like I'll never think that women like can't do anything better. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Like
mm.
to me, I think
It's
they
not a
will do
threat.
everything better than men. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a threat. It's helpful,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. Like having like more women around is just helpful.
Yes,
It's just a better
exactly.
vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Things are cleaner, things are
Mm.
just more
Getting
considered,
done,
things are
organized.
exactly. Everyone's in a
Mm-hmm.
better mood. No one's like yelling at each other like and yeah, it's just everything is just better when there's women involved. So I don't understand like that whole thought, but
Mm,
I think like when men and women like are in a place where they learn everything about each other and they're so close, and like they not only see like they're like physical naked bodies, but you see kind of like their naked, like
emotional.
emotional bodies too, and that's a really vulnerable place to be with somebody else. And like, I think the first reaction that a lot of men are going to have is to just kind of like boss up and just be like, oh, well, she's doing really well. Like, fuck her. You know what I mean? Kind of like, you know what I mean?
Mm,
It's like, oh,
mm,
well, whatever. It's like,
mm, mm.
I don't know. New
It's
York
probably
is
just
like
because she's
a,
hot anyway. It's probably just because she's the girl.
yeah, exactly. It's like that is
Maybe
it's
she's
so
just smarter
primitive.
and better than you.
Yeah, it's so incel thinking. Honestly, that is like incel thinking. But
Mm,
it's, I don't know. It's like New York too. Is such a, it's like a big city. Like millions of people live here, but like the scene here is tiny. There's
mm,
no way you're gonna be able to navigate the scene by like making enemies with all these people. You know
mm.
what I mean? And especially like people like hooking up with people. Like everyone's hooked up with everybody, so it's like kind of hard to, if you're gonna get upset with somebody about hooking up with somebody else, then this is not the place to live. Because like, yeah,
You
the
can't be a
Venn
messy
diagram
slut in the
is
New York creative
yeah,
industry. I mean,
yeah,
any industry,
exactly.
basically. Everything boils down to a very small group of people, I think. in most
It totally
situations.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't, I feel like the faster you let go of that stuff, the faster you'll just be able to like flourish and like truly be able to like take advantage of what the city and what the scene has to offer, and like also community too, right? Community is like
Mm.
such a huge thing. And like I think like being a platonic friend with somebody and also like hooking up with somebody, those are like two equally valid ways of becoming friends with them
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. Like if
Mm-hmm.
the first entry into it is like, oh yeah, we hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have friends like that. Literally, we like the first time we ever met, that night we hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it's like, oh, when are we gonna see each other again? Uh at the club? Not the right answer, by the way. If a girl asks you that, at the club is not the right answer.
Yeah. So do you wait,
um,
okay, well, I just want to sidetrack. Okay, wait, no, we'll get to that
yeah,
later. Let me make a note.
like okay, I don't know. I just want to like I just want to treat other people the way that I want to be treated at the end of the day, and
Mm,
like I don't want to be completely like I'm not only the things that I create, and I'm not
mm,
only the things that I make. You know
mm,
what I mean? It's like a huge, those things are like a huge part of me, but like um yeah, I'm not defined by just that.
mm.
And
What is or isn't on the grid?
yeah, right. And it's just like it's taken me a minute to kind of like feel okay with that.
Mm. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like something for me in the last few years, or just in general, has like always kind of being like always being like at arm's length with social media in a way. Like even though I'm like active on social media, I definitely kind of am able to or try to separate it as like a different part of me, not like, oh, my internet self is around me all the time. Like I have intentionally taken time off social media and continued to like manage my relationship with social media so that I'm rooted in reality enough to know that like what's in front of me without a phone screen, without like the illusion of like connecting with something because I'm watching a video or whatever or reading an article, like reality and like the people that I'm actually around and the things that I'm actually interacting with, finding joy in those things and being present in those things while still enjoying the internet has allowed me to kind of separate from these things. But I think it's becoming much more difficult for people to separate their online self from their real self. And then the way
Yeah,
this
the lines
affects
are
how people
blurred.
connect, yeah, is like crazy, like for them to the point where it's like it's more important that your relationship is validated on the social media grid than it is to have like a good quality relationship. Like they would rather have you just post a picture of them than to like actually be with someone who wants to just do that anyway. Like when I've dated guys and it's gotten more serious, I've never had to ask them to post me. They always post me. And then I'm like, I'm not posting you. It's bad for the brand. I'm like, I mean, you can post me, but I don't know. I've never had to
Oh, this is
ask.
a cute picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, thanks, babe. I'll share it on my
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. And then put the emoji over his face.
But like if you want to be with someone who posts you on the grid, like you shouldn't even have to ask, the same way that you said that now you're in a situation, now you're in a relationship where it's like you don't even need to be asked. You wouldn't need to be asked, you would be happy to do that. But I whatever wherever you're at now, like it's just not maybe a priority for your relationship to have to do that. But
Mhm.
you don't need to be asked. Like they didn't need to
Mhm.
be asked. They just did it because they were in love with me.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's
Yeah.
a level of like, especially for men too, they want to like show off your trophy wife, or show off you know what I mean, like
Mm,
your partner, your hot girlfriend.
mm. So do you think it
Um,
comes also from a place of like, but I think like in the way that you describe how you didn't feel like you had done enough like in other parts of your life to then be able to like claim this relationship, that also plays into someone's ability to do that. Like it's not, because I think it's easy for women to like take it so personally, like there's something wrong with me, he won't do this. But in reality it's like often just kind of like situational for the guy. It actually wouldn't matter who you were dating at that time. It's just like you're not in the place to be able to do that or to want to do that. And it's not the woman's fault. And it's not her responsibility to
totally,
change your mind.
totally. No, for sure,
Mm,
for sure. Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not the woman. It's the situation for sure.
mm,
It's the circumstance. 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And I
think
would
it,
say if there's any girl that's feeling like that, like, oh, like my partner's not posting me, that must mean that I'm ugly, or that you know what I mean, like they're ashamed of being with me. Like I don't I don't know if that's true. I don't know if
mm,
that would be true. And that's like a really serious conclusion to jump to.
yeah. And if it's important for you to be with someone that is going to claim you, like those people exist and you deserve to be with them, not this dusty, crusty guy making excuses.
It, yeah, exactly. And I've been that dusty, crusty guy before.
Exactly. See, self
Yeah.
awareness exists, but
It
we
took me
love
a
to say it.
while. Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me a while to get there, um, but yeah, yeah, for sure. I'll claim that.
So I think that's a good place for us to begin our conclusion because Derrick is open to being a recurring guest. And I would love to hear people's feedback on this episode. You let me know if we want to invite him back or not. Let the
Yes,
listeners
yes,
decide.
exactly.
But for like the outro for this first episode, please reveal your star sign and your personality type if you know them. Do you know your big three?
My star sign is I'm a Aries.
Mm-hmm. Is that all you
Um,
know?
what's the personality type?
Like your MBTI, like INFP, ENFP. Do you know that?
Oh, I'm my Myers Briggs.
Yes.
Oh gosh, I think I'm a ENFJ.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like you identify with your star sign slash MBTI Myers Briggs? Wait, what do you know your like rising sign or your moon sign?
No, I don't. I need to get that. My
That's so
girl would know
crazy.
though.
Yeah, that's crazy that you don't know. No one's asked you for your birth time.
Yeah.
You haven't had to call your mom and be like, "Hey, mom."
Yeah, I did it, but nobody want. I maybe I just don't remember. I feel like someone's done it for me before. I was born in like the morning at some point, so maybe someone can figure this out for me. But I was born on April 2nd
Basically, you don't have to
at
reveal
like
all personal details.
yeah at this exact location. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we got to figure that out for next time though. We got to figure that out.
Okay, cool. So,
But I feel
do,
like from what I've heard, I agree with it.
mhm. Fire sign,
Because
Aries.
fire sign,
Mhm.
yeah, like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't get along with Aries. They're really like, I don't know, like kind of abrasive and like brash and like mean and like all these things, like a fire sign, I guess what you would think it would be. And I'm like, oh, I could be all these things. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't get those vibes from you at all, though. But I am also a fire
I'm
sign, so
right. Yeah. We see what we want to see. Selective
yeah,
listening and
yeah.
hearing.
Like
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
like
yeah.
just cancels it out. You know, like my brashness.
Yeah.
We're just like
It's like it
chatting.
feels normal for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Final question. Based on what you know about me, what kind of man or relationship do you think I'm prone to dating or would be best for me?
Well, I know what type of man or relationship you're prone to be attracted to is definitely the fuck boy toxic man energy.
Hmm.
That's what I
I'm
feel
not
like is
confirming or
is
denying.
most
I'm just
prone
opening.
to you. Okay.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
going to
Thank
confirm or
you.
deny just yet. I just want to hear your thoughts.
Got you. Got you. Well, and I know the relationship that is probably best for you is something that I feel like what I see for you is like almost see like Korean drama vibes. So like really good looking guy,
Mm-hmm.
troubled past, you know what I'm saying? But like
Mm-hmm.
getting over it, like mid-level semi-successful.
Mm-hmm.
Probably has like a really consistent job but doesn't like the job. Um and has some skeletons in the closet, you know what I'm saying? I feel like
I'm done being a tomb
that's what
sweeper.
you need. Yeah, I feel like that's what you need. You need someone consistent and somebody who's going to be there, but also someone with a little bit of baggage and a little bit of drama.
Mm.
I feel like that would be best. Yeah.
So what I'm getting is like no more DJs or people in the creative industry.
Definitely no more DJs. They could be creative, but they should be more like work in the creative department. You know what I'm saying? Like a,
Mm-hmm.
art director vibe,
Mm-hmm.
creative
Mm-hmm.
director vibe, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah, no artists,
Mm.
no DJ, no, yeah. Yeah, that's done. That's
Okay.
done.
I appreciate the insight. Let me know if you
Yeah.
know anyone out there.
Yeah.
You can send
I'll
them my
definitely
Instagram. Tell them
keep
that
the
they're not going to be on
radar.
the grid, but they can appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe a story. You might get a story after a few months, maybe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Derrick, for being on the show. I'm excited to have you back. Hopefully.
Hopefully the people like me. Hopefully I get some votes.
Yeah, there's still so much for us to discuss. Like, we barely even scratched the surface of my prompt sheet.
Yeah, I know, for real. We need to dive in a little bit more. I'd love
Yeah.
to.
So if anyone else has questions for Derrick specifically, feel free to send them to me. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope there's something that you take away from this episode. If not just for entertainment purposes, maybe it's giving you perspective on something in your life or your own situation. Message me or leave a comment and let me know. Leave a comment. I need engagement. And yeah, let me know what you want to hear about next and what you want to see next. And thank you so much for listening and watching. Hope you have a great day. Drink lots of water. Tell your friends and family that you love them. Go be a better person, and I'll speak to you soon.